If you're a big keyword junkie like what we are, and we love our data here, then you've probably noticed that Google has killed off its keyword tool. That's the keyword tool external, the Google keyword tool. And even though it's replaced the Google keyword tool with the keyword planner, it's significantly different from what you've come to love and expect from the Google keyword tool, and it requires a little bit of new thinking to actually get your head around some of the differences here. Now, this is a sad day in many ways. I've come to love the Google keyword tool because it actually was very, very, very beneficial to us. The release of the Google keyword tool just happened to coincide with the release of Market Samurai. In the last few weeks up to the lead up of Market Samurai, suddenly Google released this amazing keyword tool, and it gave us these actual statistics for the number of searches that there were per day or per month for any keyword that we wanted to find out. And it was Google reporting this data, so it was the real life data. And I don't want to be one of these old men that says, you don't know how lucky you were, but previously, before this, there just weren't accurate statistics on how many searches there were for any keywords that you wanted to go out there. You could either derive the keyword data and go to meta search engines or Yahoo or Omniture or wherever and come up with a little bit of data based on some statistics that weren't actually Google and weren't actually 80-90% of the search market in Australia or wherever you wanted. So you could get a little bit of an insight into how many searches there were for specific keywords. But if you wanted to actually go to the raw data source and ask Google how much traffic there was for a keyword, then you just couldn't. So literally before this tool was released, before the Google keyword tool was released, people would sit in front of graphs on trends.google.com, and they'd sit there with little pieces of paper and use the pieces of paper up against their monitors to measure how much traffic there was for one keyword and compare it to the traffic for another keyword. And it was just crazy to do, to think what we were like just 5 years ago, I think. So even though a lot has changed about this new keyword tool, a lot's also stayed the same. Let's have a look inside Market Samurai and see exactly what's changed here. If we go into the keyword statistics that are still available, you see that some of them still have the same names. You've got total searches, you've got SEOT, or SEO traffic, you've still got phrase to broad match, although we won't use that anymore, and I'll explain why in a different video. You've still got Google Trends here, but there's some others here that have changed names, like AdWords Impressions. It used to be AdWords Traffic. And you've also got average AdWords cost per click, which previously, as the name suggests, AWCPC, was just AdWords cost per click. It wasn't an average. So some of these data sources here have changed, some of them haven't. And there's also a focus on some other types of data when it comes to competition, and I'll go through these in another video. One of the biggest changes, though, is the focus on exact match traffic, and I'm going to show you exactly what that means inside this video. Now let's use an example here. Actually, before I use an example, I'll show you the differences between exact match and broad match and phrase match here, and show you that Market Samurai doesn't actually report on broad match and phrase match right now for searches and SEOT. So if I have a look at these figures in these two columns here, searches and SEOT, and I change to phrase match, you see there is no change. And I change to broad match, there is no change. The SEOV figure column over here, this is changing, and that's because we're able to change the AdWords cost per click, the actual cost for a click, broad match, phrase match, exact match, and the different bid prices that people are paying for each one of them here. But when we change exact match to broad match to phrase match, we don't actually see a change in the searches here, and that's because the raw data source inside the Google Keyword Planner, this new keyword tool here, doesn't actually give us that in the same way that we used to have access to it. So if you're using Market Samurai, that's now what you're focusing on. You're now focusing on the exact match traffic. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Well, if we have a look at some keyword analysis, because we do so much keyword analysis, we've got keywords going back literally, years and years and years, that we can compare trends between one keyword and the next over time to see how Google's keyword tools have changed. Now, if we were to have a look at the broad match searches that we used to do just a month ago and compare them to the exact match searches that we're forced to do now, we see that the change is significant. In fact, if you were to use this keyword here, keyword number 1, we're going to call it, rather than show you the exact keyword. I'm sorry, but this is private client data for this keyword set here. But if you were using broad match data just a month ago, you would have seen 2,268 potential clicks per month. And now, if you've been forced to move over to exact match, then there are only 164 potential clicks. Now, that doesn't mean that there's less traffic in Google. That just means we're measuring the traffic in slightly different ways. And that means a massive change here. It means that there's 93% less traffic being reported inside Market Samurai if you're going from broad match to exact match here. If you've always been using exact match, then the change isn't any different at all. So here's some more client data. In fact, it's the same exact same set of keywords that we're looking at here. And if we used exact match a month ago, we would have received 164 potential clicks per month. And if we used it just today, exact match using the new data source, then we would have seen that Google would have told us that there were 164 potential clicks per day still. So there is no real change there. There are a couple of keywords here where there's a little bit of a change, 10% less, 7% more, 17% more, 12%, 17% less, 12% less. This is just normal fluctuations in keyword data. Even though you're looking at keywords and you're expecting that the traffic is going to be the same from month to month, there's different trends around different keywords, and some months they'll be up, some months they'll be down. So this is nothing that we wouldn't normally expect if we were just comparing the same data source month to month. As you see, it's roughly the same from month to month, some up, some down. Do you need to worry about all of this? Well, no, you don't really need to worry about all of these little changes. We're already on top of it. So if you actually want to get someone else to do your keyword research for you and to simply tell you these are the highest return on investment keywords that you should be targeting, and if you target these keywords, then you should get the maximum result from your search engine optimization, then we can handle that for you. And the way to get us to do keyword research for you is to simply go to keywordblueprint.com and to pick one of our keyword research packages and to just tell us about your business, and we'll find the best keywords that are out there inside all of these tools for your website.